So, the lighting is kind of weird right now. It's in the evening, so I have one lamp on me and then just a very cold, distant winter light. Um, Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. Today I wanted to do a third installment of my bookshelf tour. Yeah, so I'm just gonna show you like all my little knickknacks that I have down there. I'm just gonna lift them up. The first two I have are these little candles. They're both from Motor City Hoodoo, and I got them in North Carolina at like an esoteric bookshop. This one I've used, this one I haven't. I also have my little velveteen rabbit, quite cute little guy. And a coaster. I think this is like for doyouphilly.org. Probably an HIV advocacy group. I got it when I was at a gay bingo event in Philly. It was very fun. I would love to go to another gay bingo. So yeah, with that, let's get into the video. So I really can't think of a good way to do this with a tripod. Like, the angles are so hard. So I think I'm just gonna hold the camera and try not to shake it too much. From left over here, we have Fiber Fueled by Will Bolshius, something like that. It's a book written by a gastroenterologist, I believe that's what he is. And essentially it argues that you should, rather than doing a lot of elimination diets, potentially the benefit, like a more beneficial diet would be to eat more diversely. And this definitely has like a vegan slant, but I think the principles of the book can be applied to a lot of different diets, and I really like it because I do think that sometimes elimination diets are maybe used a bit more broadly than they should be used. Obviously, I think you should consult people before you make major changes to your diet, especially if you have like allergies or insensitivities and such. This is a like task, and I think they do a lot of art books, and this is a kind of photography book that I got. I like a lot of the stuff in here. I just love having art books. It was like a big thing for me when I was in high school. This was a gift from some of my professors from my undergrad, and it's Чисто небесная лазурь, and it is стихи русских поэтов. So it is, I honestly don't know what lazur means, if I'm being totally honest, but it's like clean sky something, and it's Russian poetry. Atomic Habits by James Clear. I know this is like a big self-help book. I think it's really funny because I got it, I started taking some of the advice and applying it to reading. I have since read many books than I had previously, but I haven't read the book that inspired me to read all those books. So I guess still technically currently reading. But I watched someone, I can't remember her name. She does a lot of really cool videos, and she was talking about how she got a book to help her run, and even though she's never read the book, she does run. And so even if she never reads the book, she did get the value out of the book that she wanted. After that, we have The Secret World of Weather by Ghoulie. This just feels like a late spring read to me, so I'm definitely going to hold off on that until late spring. Violence and the Pornographic Imagery by Natalie Purcell. Definitely someone's dissertation, and I mentioned this when I first got the book. I feel like it's one of those things that is a more scientific look at something that we all have our own personal opinions about, so pretty excited for that. And here's the kicker: Conversations with 21 Top Humor Writers About Their Craft by Mark Sachs. This was a gift from a friend for my birthday. I did some like personal comedy writing, and she got that for me for my birthday. I do still need to read it. And then Tanuki Ichiban by Zainad Mirin. This is I love the spine of this, but I also love the cover. It's so pretty, but the writing is very hard to understand. I think it's like really stream of consciousness, if I remember correctly. And oh boise, that I had a tough time with that. I do not know if I'm gonna leave this back in. Oh no, oh no, get in there. And I actually got that book when I was in South Africa. Oh my god. There, success. I'm gonna take not very many of these out anymore. Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, nominated for International Booker last year. Yeah, I just need to read it. Got that when I was in Amsterdam. Cormac McCarthy, The Road. A friend lent this to me, and I have to be honest, I did not. I think I told him. I told him recently, like, hey, I have your copy of The Road from 7 years ago. But shit, I not read it. A New Name, John Fosse. I think this is also Booker International nominee. Haven't touched it. Ooh, this is really cool. I'll try and make sure I can get it back in. Kwaidan, Japanese Ghost Stories. I really want to save this. Tokyo Chemist talked about how, like, in Japan, apparently creepy stories are saved for the summer because it gives you chills and that's supposed to cool you down. I love that idea, so I am kind of like, ooh, I should wait for the hot summer to read it. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Cien Años de Soledad, or 100 Years of Solitude. I haven't started this yet, but I do want to. I'm just not that confident in my Spanish. This one, AIDS and Masculinity in the African City, Privilege, Inequality, and Modern Manhood by Robert Wyrod. Another, like, guy who wrote his dissertation into a book. I have to say, I remember reading that and having some pretty significant complaints. Like, there was just a few things where I was like, you are so looking at this from your own perspective. I think you're missing, like, he's so looking at it from the perspective of, like, masculinity. I think he's missing that other element of looking at it from, like, the feminist lens as well. And he could have sandwiched his points much nicer, but failing to do so, it just feels like an incomplete discussion. And the book is quite fascinating, and I think it's one of those examples of how masculinity can really imprison men in itself. And so I do think it has its benefits, but it's written from its perspective, if that makes sense. El Gato que Amaba los Libros by Sosuke Natsukawa. I got this because the cover is so freaking cute. I think the name in English is different of this book, but yeah, I also don't know if my Spanish is good enough to read that either. Then I have something in this book. Ruthie Fear by Maxim Laskutov. And this is supposed to be, I think, about like there's some elements of preserving nature, family, poverty, and I think they're all sort of intertwined. I can't exactly remember what this book is about. I know I'll get to it eventually, but who knows how eventually. Donna Tartt, The Goldfinch. I don't know anything about it. Someone lent this book to me, or like I think they like gave it to me, like, you should read this book, but I haven't touched it. So The Witch and the Tsar by Alisa Selenkova Gilmore. This is sort of like Baba Yaga saves Russia, like Russia under Ivan the Terrible. And I just have to say, it's very YA for me. But when I was purchasing this book, I did make sure that the author supports Ukraine. And I think that going forward, when I purchase books from Russian authors, I will guarantee what their stance is, and B, I will make a donation of the same cost of the book to an organization supporting Ukraine. And yeah, so that's that book. I started reading it. It was just a little YA for me. I couldn't get that into it, but at the same time, because it is sort of more YA, it was a little bit easier to read. And next up, this really psychedelic book. It's A Naked Singularity by Sergio de la Pava. And I think this is about a immigrant lawyer in the US and just confronting, you know, inequities and inequalities in the US and the legal system. Just seems very much up my alley. Really excited to read it. Moving on, The Inhabited Island by Arkadia and Boris Surgatsky. This, I don't even know what it's about. I think it's kind of sci-fi futurist, and I got it at the Strand. A friend got it for me for my birthday a few years ago. The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu, translated by Ken Liu. Yeah, I know this is like a pretty big sci-fi get, and I don't know, I'm excited. I think I'm gonna read that this year because I do want to focus on reading more by Chinese authors, so I think I'll get to that. Not sure exactly when. After that, my aunt lent me The Empire of Pain, The Secret History of the Sackler Dynasty by Patrick Radden Keefe. We had talked a little bit about Dope Sick by Beth Macy, and she was like, you should read this. It focuses a lot more on the Sackler family itself. Late Blooming Flowers and Other Stories by Anton Chekhov. And actually the next three. Also The Island of Crimea by Vasilia Aksyonskvo. I'm not sure. And then The Idiot by Dostoevsky. These I all got at secondhand bookstores, I believe. Just, you know, just some lit that I have. Oh, sorry, I feel bad. This is probably getting really tilted. But yeah, nothing really special to say about those. Then I have Russian Fairy Tales by Alexander Afanasyev. And I'm sure those are probably kind of generalized Slavic ones. And then this was actually a textbook from undergrad, yeah, 7th edition, Russia and the Soviet Union by John M. Thompson. A historical introduction from the Kievan Rus to, actually, a historical introduction from the Kievan state to the present. So, like, a lot more than just the Soviet Union. I guess I don't know when that was written. After that, I can do a little tour of my bookmarks. This is from Magic City Books in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This I got in New York, this really pretty flower one. The Strand in New York. This is a postcard. These two actually are postcards. This one is from this really great restaurant called Chama Mama in the city. It's so freaking good. I've been there like 3 times since moving here. Providence. I got this from 20 Stories. This is also from 20 Stories. This, the Book Lounge, is from Cape Town, so same place I got this book. Another 20 Stories, An Unlikely Story, and then Shakespeare & Co., which I have to say, Shakespeare & Co., I never like their book selection. Like, I always go in there wanting to find something, and then I'm like, right. So yeah. And there you have it, folks. My bottom bookshelf. I'll admit this kind of changes a lot because I'm always picking books up and off of my shelf, so it's not really exact in any way, but what you gonna do? After that, I guess the only thing there's left to say is the books I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading The Diving Pool by Yōko Ogawa. I was able to find this at Kinokuniya near Bryant Park. So I got this finally. I've been looking forever for this freaking book. It's always the professor one with the flowers on the cover, and I'm just not interested in reading that. And so I finally found that book. And then I'm also still halfway. I haven't actually picked this up in a few days, through We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. So that's what I'm currently reading. Let me know if you guys have any of these books, any videos you'd want to see, and have a great day.